The Cincinnati Open draw has just created a matchup that could light up Mason, Ohio. Alexandra Eala, the Philippines' rising tennis sensation, has been placed in a section where she is seeded to face Amanda Anisimova in the third round. And this is not just another name on the draw sheet. Cincinnati's own official tournament preview highlighted the possibility, setting up a potential meeting between the 17th-seeded Eala and the American star, who reached last year's Wimbledon and U.S. Open finals. For Eala, this would be another major test at exactly the moment her career is gathering serious momentum. She arrives in Cincinnati after making history in Washington, D.C., where she defeated Jessica Pegula 4-6, 6-4, 6-0 to win her first WTA Tour level singles title and become the first player from the Philippines to claim a WTA singles championship. But Anisimova represents a completely different challenge: explosive power, experience, and a proven ability to compete on the biggest stages. And here's where the story gets fascinating, because before Eala can even think about that third-round blockbuster, she has to survive her opening match and prove that her Washington breakthrough was not a one-week miracle. Now the pressure becomes very real. Eala enters Cincinnati as the number 17 seed, and that seeding comes after a remarkable jump into the WTA's top 20. The Washington title lifted her 8 places to a career-high number 20, making her the first Filipina in history to break into that elite group. That matters because this time, Eala is not arriving as an unknown player hoping to make noise. She is arriving as a seeded competitor, and that changes the expectations. The Cincinnati Open is one of the most important stops before the U.S. Open, with the WTA 1000 event serving as a major test during the hard court swing. For Eala, it offers another opportunity to show that her breakthrough in Washington can translate into success against a deeper field. But standing in the potential third-round path is Anisimova. That matchup would create a fascinating contrast in styles. Anisimova has built her reputation around aggressive ball striking. When she finds the right position on the court, she can take time away from an opponent with incredibly clean and powerful ground strokes. Eala, meanwhile, has shown that she can disrupt opponents with movement, changes of direction, intelligent shot selection, and the ability to stay competitive when rallies become physically demanding. So this would not simply be a contest between a higher-ranked American and a rising Filipino star. It could become a battle between power and precision. And there's another reason this potential matchup deserves attention. Eala has already demonstrated that a top 10 opponent does not automatically intimidate her. Earlier this season, she collected major wins over Elena Rybakina and Alina Svitolina on grass in Berlin, giving her 6 career victories over top 10 players, according to Wimbledon's official match notes. That experience could become extremely important in Cincinnati, because when the biggest moments arrive, Eala now has evidence from her own career that she belongs on that stage. But first, there is a small matter of actually getting through the draw. The potential Anisimova meeting is not guaranteed. Both players still have to win their earlier matches. One unexpected result can completely change the storyline, and that's exactly what makes the Cincinnati draw so dangerous. A projected blockbuster can dominate the headlines before the tournament even begins, but on a hard court, one bad set, one service game, or one difficult opponent can send the entire bracket in another direction. For Eala, the mission is simple: stay focused on the next match. Because if she does, Cincinnati could eventually give her something even bigger than another deep run. It could give her a chance to prove that the player who shocked Washington is ready to challenge the established stars of women's tennis. And against Anisimova, that test would be absolutely unforgiving. Now, let's look at what could actually decide this matchup. On paper, Anisimova would bring the heavier firepower. Her ability to strike the ball early and attack from inside the baseline can put enormous pressure on an opponent. If she gets comfortable, rallies can become very short very quickly. That is why Eala's movement could be one of the most important elements of the entire contest. Eala does not need to match Anisimova shot for shot. In fact, trying to turn the match into a pure power battle could play directly into the American strengths. Eala's better opportunity would be to change the rhythm, move Anisimova around the court, extend rallies, and force her to hit one more difficult ball. That is where patience becomes a weapon. And Eala has already shown that she can handle pressure against elite competition. Her victory over Pegula in Washington was particularly revealing because she recovered after losing the opening set and then completely changed the momentum of the final. She eventually closed out the championship with a 6-0 third set. That comeback tells us something important about Eala's current mentality. She is no longer simply trying to survive against established stars. She is beginning to understand how to beat them. But Anisimova presents a different tactical problem. If Eala gives her short balls, Anisimova can attack. If Eala repeatedly leaves the ball in the same location, Anisimova can take control of the point. And if Eala struggles to protect her own serve, the pressure could build quickly. So the Filipino star may need to make every game uncomfortable. Change direction. Move the American from side to side. Use variation. And above all, stay mentally composed when Anisimova inevitably produces those spectacular winners, because there will probably be moments when Eala looks under pressure. The question is what she does next. That may be the biggest difference between the Eala of the past and the Eala we are watching now. Her confidence has been built by results, not simply by potential. A player who has already broken into the world's top 20 and won a first WTA singles title is approaching these matches with a completely different level of belief. And that is why this possible third-round meeting has become so intriguing. It is not simply about whether Eala can defeat Anisimova. It is about whether Eala can take another step from rising star to genuine contender. But there is one final question hanging over Cincinnati. What happens if Eala gets through the early rounds and actually walks onto the court against Anisimova? Because at that point, the attention will shift from the draw itself to one fascinating battle. Can Eala's speed, defense, and shot-making survive Anisimova's power for an entire match? And the answer could tell us a lot about just how far Alexandra Eala can go on the hard courts leading into the U.S. Open. And that brings us to the bigger picture. Whether or not the projected third-round meeting actually happens, Cincinnati represents another important checkpoint in Alexandra Eala's rise. Just weeks ago, the conversation around her was about potential. Now, the conversation is about what she can accomplish against the very best players in the world. That is a major difference. Eala has already shown that she can handle pressure, defeat established opponents, and recover when a match does not go according to plan. Her Washington triumph gave her the biggest title of her career so far, while her climb into the top 20 confirmed that her progress is no longer something happening quietly in the background. But Cincinnati offers a different challenge. There is less room for surprise. Opponents know who Eala is now. They know her game is dangerous. They know she can compete with elite players. That means every future opponent will arrive prepared. And that is exactly what happens when a young player becomes a real name on the tour. The attention gets bigger. The expectations get heavier. And the margins become smaller. For Eala, the most important thing may be not to look beyond the next match. The Anisimova matchup is exciting, but it remains a projected meeting rather than a guaranteed one. Both players have work to do before that blockbuster becomes reality. Still, imagine the stage if it happens. One side, a former top 10 American with enormous power and major final experience. The other, a Filipino breakthrough star who has spent the past year turning historic firsts into reality. Different backgrounds, different styles, one court, and potentially one of the most compelling early round matchups in Cincinnati. For Filipino tennis fans, this is another reason to watch closely. For the rest of the tennis world, it is another opportunity to see whether Alexandra Eala can keep climbing. The spotlight is getting brighter. The opponents are getting tougher, and the stakes are getting higher. Cincinnati may only be one tournament, but for Eala, this is part of a much bigger story, one that could lead directly into the U.S. Open with even greater expectations surrounding her. So now, everything comes down to the next few matches. Can Eala keep the momentum alive? Can she turn her new top 20 status into another deep WTA 1000 run? And if the draw delivers a showdown everyone is talking about, can Alexandra Eala stand toe-to-toe with Amanda Anisimova and create another unforgettable chapter? We are about to find out, because this time, Eala is not entering Cincinnati simply hoping to make headlines. She is entering with the world watching, and that may be the most exciting part of the story.